Welcome back to the DroneOn Show. It's also going to be a drone deer recovery show today. If you're watching on the Drone Deer Recovery channel, appreciate that. If you guys are watching or listening on the DroneOn Show, this is talking more about our drone deer recovery business. It's where we use thermal drones to help hunters find lost game. And
I did look for a hunter once that was lost. Showed up, hunter's friend was gone. So it ended up being from a deer search to a hunter search.
Did you find him?
Nope. And
Did he come back?
Oh, well, I remember that.
Yeah, but the crazy thing so the police department was out there. They had a drone team out there, and I searched for 2 hours. And I said, this guy is nowhere around. Like, he either does not want to be found because he's hiding. It's not like he's passed out somewhere, because I would have found him.
Yeah.
And it's like he does not want to be found, like he went into a shed or something, or he just said, see you later. Like, I'm out of here.
Didn't he like walk off and was found in town?
Yeah, and then 2 days later,
Dude, that's exactly what I'm talking about. These are the untold stories.
Anyway, yeah.
So
2 days later, he said, about 40 minutes away, he was found in Coshocton hitchhiking.
Wait,
was it the hunter?
He was actually hunting?
Hunter's friend. So
Hunter's
what
friend.
happened was the hunter and his friend were out tracking a deer, and all of a sudden lost blood trail. And so the hunter told his friend, you stay here. I'm going to go up to the house and call drone deer recovery. And so he got a hold of me, and I came out. Never said anything to me, but apparently when I pulled up, the cop cars were there, and I was like, oh man, dude, I want to get involved, like something shady going on here, whatever. And he's just like, oh, I'm so glad you're here. He's like, my friend's missing. And he's like, after I went and called you, went back down to where I told him to stay there.
He was gone.
He was gone.
That is strange.
Wait,
Strange.
what was...
He just...
It seems like there's more to the story. Why did the dude randomly walk off? Was he waiting that long for his friend to get back?
He was like, I'm peacing out.
Yeah. I don't know all those details or whatever. All I know is just that. And actually, found the deer as I was searching. It was still alive, but found the deer.
Okay, so you were doing double duty.
Yeah, I was doing double duty.
You were doing looking for a deer itself,
Yeah.
and then looking for a hunter.
Right. Yeah.
Or not really a hunter. Was he?
Well, hunter's friend. I don't know.
Maybe
He was looking for a tracker.
Viviana,
Yeah.
Mom missing Gugafetti? We're interrupting the show as little Viviana was wanting to help. That is crazy. What a perfect way to start off the podcast, because that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about those untold stories, the stuff we haven't put on the Drone Deer Recovery channel, and really where thermal drones have taken us. So I'm Mike, we got Jason, and we got Austin helping produce the show. I just thought that I think this would be an interesting podcast to talk about some of those things, because sometimes people just want to listen to stories, just like that story. That's a pretty interesting story. Randomly showed up to do a deer recovery, and now you were looking for a hunter. That's pretty interesting. There's got to be more stuff that happened that I haven't even heard from you. You did a lot of pet recovery stuff. In the beginning, you were using your thermal drone to do pet recovery stuff. What were some of the craziest things you've seen there? Was it like homeless people? Did you ever find homeless people in the woods? Something like that?
That's a good question. I feel like there was a time... there was one time that we stumbled upon this, like, just almost like this ghetto trailer park. Like, it wasn't just one homeless person. Like, it looked like a park.
Okay,
like,
it was a community.
Multiple people.
Were you in LA, perhaps?
Yeah. No. Ohio still has some pretty interesting places, for sure.
You weren't close to Springfield, were you?
I have no idea.
What's the joke on that? Wasn't that?
I've never heard of Springfield until about 4 months ago, and then all of a sudden it was in the news.
They were saying they were eating cats or something.
Eating cats. I guess the Haitian community down there like they literally brought about 20,000 Haitians into like a little community.
Yeah.
So there's like a community of like 40,000 people, and then all of a sudden it's just injected with
the
20,000 migrants.
support system wasn't there for
Okay.
them, and so they were like...
So you find this homeless camp or community.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing sketchy about it, though.
Nothing really sketchy. It's just like you just see things from the air, in different ways. And I'm already thinking of a couple stories of like things that I've observed by deer, like watching deer and wounded deer, that are just like, whoa, what's going on here? That we'll get into. But
That makes me think. You brought up lost hunter. Did you see the stuff going around on social media right now? I guess there's 2 hunters missing, either in Montana,
elk hunters, Colorado. I heard.
Colorado.
Yep.
Oh, really? No,
I would want to go help, but I'm sure there's 100 thermal drones there. And if there's not 100 thermal drones there, there should be.
Yeah.
But I also don't know if it's national forest. But would that even apply if you're looking for?
I bet it doesn't. I mean, you could probably have an emergency.
I'm sure you could get into contact with search and rescue there.
Yeah.
But I think it's been like 2 weeks, hasn't it?
Oh, geez.
It's been a little while. So I'm like, I was talking to Dennis about it the other day. Yeah. And at this point, I mean, coyotes could have ate them. I mean, they're probably dead.
You think so? Like
2 weeks out
2
there?
weeks?
Yeah, but don't you have a weapon? Wouldn't you like just kill whatever you need to kill to survive?
I mean, you would think so.
I mean, surely. Like as far as like eating
I
stuff.
told Dennis, I'm down. Let's go. Like, I'll go out there and look for them.
I just wonder, what the efforts have been so far. I
know.
I just know from my time out there in Idaho, you do have some difficulties with like a lot of the rocks, and
I was going to
heat
ask
and
you
stuff
about
like
that.
But as far as trees, like the canopy is not an issue.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could
in certain areas.
Yeah. I mean, if it's Colorado, you're already having, it's mostly aspens.
Oh, dude, I just thought about it.
Yeah.
We need the speakers on the drones to let them know, hey, we're looking for you. Make sure you are standing out in a wide open area. Right? You could blast.
Okay, that actually happened when we went.
I got goosebumps because I'm like, I think we could do this.
We actually happened. We went to Idaho to do the search and rescue training. We were going to go at 3:00 in the morning and wake up the campers to go do some of the scenarios. And I forgot to pin the location of where they're camping, where their camp was. And I thought, I'm just going to fly the drone out there and find them. Well, they were all in their tents. There was no. And this was 3 a.m. There was no heat. I flew that thing up and down. I could not find them. This is embarrassing. Like we're here to use
no,
these.
This is a practical thing you're saying. Though.
Yeah, and so all of a sudden we were like, well, let's use the speakers. So we said, attention, cadets. You have 5 minutes to report to base tent. And I mean, the thermals just lit up because we used a speaker to wake them up.
So
get them out.
when they were in the tent, you couldn't find them?
When they were in the tent, yeah, because they had
It'd
tarps.
almost be like insulated. Yeah.
They were insulated from that, so you couldn't.
So if these hunters have little tents and they're laying in the tents, I
don't know about tent. So they were pretty primitive in what they could use. So they only were using tarps. So they were using like really thick tarps for their
That makes sense to me. That it could have a barrier. That the tent itself isn't hot.
Yep.
Right.
It's hot inside the tent, but not the
outside.
material.
Yeah,
not the
outside
material itself.
So that's where you would just have a speaker and you would just have it on a repeat set. If you hear this, move to open area where we can easily see your thermals or take clothes off or
if we would have a big speaker, not just the ones that go on the M30T, but the stuff that goes on like the M350 and the M400. Surely, we got to think about this. Somehow we got to get in. The biggest thing about doing search and rescue, and probably more about this than I do myself, is connecting with the correct people. Because if there is an organized situation going on, right, they're doing a search and rescue, you don't want to interrupt, right? We don't want to have our own group over here and all of a sudden we're randomly flying our drones and now they're like, well, who's that flying? We got stuff flying over here. But is to organize with the correct team.
Yep.
Yeah.
So maybe we should reach out to them because I think we'd have the tools to get it done.
Oh, absolutely.
The other big thing about mountainous stuff, I've never done a lot in the mountains of that size of a mountain, is just this sheer mass of land that you have to go across.
Yeah, it's kind of like Catalina Island, but way bigger.
Yeah, that's something we never told people what we did in Catalina. But the other thing I'm thinking about right now, we don't have to dissect this now. I wonder if they have cell phones, and if they do, we could test that cell phone thing.
Well, I thought about that, but at this point, if they're out there for 2 weeks, cell phone's probably dead.
But surely they took like little.
I don't think so. So I think what I heard, I've never read into the story, but what Dennis told me is they found their truck. a lot of their gear was in their truck. So they think that they might have spotted an elk and they just wanted to go after it quickly. So they left most of their gear in their truck and went after this elk, or they went into the mountain and they were never heard of after that.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't know.
Okay,
to what
so
extent.
they could be without what they needed.
Yeah.
And maybe they got disoriented. It got nighttime came or rain. I don't know what the story is, but maybe we should
check into it.
Yeah, I had somebody send something to me. Maybe we should check into it. That's pretty interesting how that transitioned into that story. But
Yeah, that wasn't
there's
deer
definitely
related at all.
the
but
thermal drones are capable
Yeah.
with the speakers, with the lights, and just what they can do. And on like a mass scale like that, it'd have to be organized, right? If you're going to send multiple drone teams out, and we could do that. We'd have Starlink, run it through DJI Terra, set it up just like we do the herd census stuff.
Yeah, and we're getting ready to actually release a SARS training course that was built for having anybody that has a thermal drone, how to integrate with other search and rescue groups, to how to actually be helpful and not a hindrance.
Maybe we should get the company to pay for this, and we go out there and we
because take for example search and rescue, they use SARTopo to help. It's a mapping software that helps them integrate not only the contour of the land but also dealing with lost person behavior. So you're not going to do a lot of grid searching when you do these type of searches. You're going to do more like, people are not going to just be like climbing randomly rock faces and all these things. They're going to be on anything that resembles a trail, along waterways. They're probably going to more likely go down, not up. Like just these different things that it actually has these algorithms and things based into it that are going to help you narrow down search areas and identify hot points.
Austin, you're teaching me so much. Why don't we just go there and you show me?
And then it's nice. You can identify all this stuff, and you can set up all of your annotations and stuff, and then you can just export that as a KML file and upload it right into your controller.
That is so
and
cool.
You have all that information.
Do you know why we haven't done it? I think if you're going to do this type of stuff, you got to kind of have a heart for it or a passion for it. Not that I don't want to find people. It just isn't something that's on my mind to do, although I would love to help, and this would maybe be the opportunity to get involved. Maybe if I do it once or twice, I'd be like, dude, this is my new drone.
I think it would be way more rewarding to go out there and find 2 hunters that have been lost for 2 weeks than to go out and find a big buck.
If you were the guy that took a drone and found guys and they were alive after 2 weeks of missing, you found them with your thermal drone, do you imagine the dopamine rush that you would have for probably
it would be
weeks on
end?
end?
That is true. Just to see what we experience when we help a hunter find their buck. Doggone it.
If you could go out there and find 2 hunters that's been out there for 2 weeks, oh my gosh, that'd be
well. Maybe we have to
phenomenal.
check the conditions, see if the conditions, what those look like, and organize something. Because I just don't know that daytime thermal stuff is going to do us any good.
No, you'll be way faster doing all of it at night.
But we could tell them, even with the speaker in the daytime, we could still fly those drainages and let them know in the speaker, hey, we cannot see you with thermal currently. Make sure you're out in an open area tonight. We are going to be coming through those same areas looking for a thermal signature.
Yeah.
That's good
it's
stuff.
It's just so hard to imagine what's all going on with 2 people. Like
I know.
one person,
Yeah.
Somebody could get trapped, somebody could fall, somebody, whatever. But 2 people, man, that is
sad.
crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And they obviously had guns or bows maybe. I don't know. Is it bow season or gun season out there?
It depends where they're at. Yeah. Sad. Hopefully they find them. If it works out, we'll go out there and see what we can do.
Yeah, I think there's a $10,000 reward if you find them.
Yeah. What's one of the stories that you think about, when we first started doing drone deer recovery from a recovery standpoint, right? Some of the recoveries that you did weren't necessarily on the drone deer recovery channel, and there were definitely times where I sent you out on doing a recovery.
The very first one that sticks out is, so before I even had a thermal drone, I don't think you were around. But your drone was here, and you got a call for a recovery. That was about 45 minutes from here. And I went out, and I had very, very little experience flying the drone. Like, I had come over, and I flew it around a little bit, but very little experience.
All the details, because my brain is trying to figure out where I would have been.
I don't know. I think you might have been you went out west. The beginning of the very first season, in the beginning, you went out west, right at the beginning of the season here. And I think it was at that point. Anyhow. But I went out. I was freaking nervous. This was my very first recovery.
Did you
that
tell
I've
him
ever
you
done.
didn't know what you're doing?
Not really.
Did I even do recoveries at that point?
I don't think you had up to that point because I don't think the season. I think you left right before the season started,
No way.
and it was like 2 days into the season.
Yeah, that does ring a bell.
I could be
I
wrong.
remember
No
you.
way. So I was
you
in I was in Colorado on that big elk hunt. Then.
Yeah. I think it was at that point.
Yeah,
Anyhow.
I remember you saying like you basically started the company.
Oh no, and then I
And
left.
you were
but
not here
I
opening
didn't think
day.
you started flying drones that early.
Well, I barely did, but I went out and showed up, and there's like 5 guys standing there, and they had shot the deer the night before. They had tracked him a little while, but they couldn't find him. Anyhow, I take the drone off. I'm out there flying. I had actually taken Brantley with me, and I flew
was
for
it
probably
local here?
Yeah, it was up close to Ashland.
Okay. Oh, it's starting to ring a bell, I think.
And anyhow, I'm flying. I can't find him. And finally, I found a couple big bucks, but it wasn't the one he was after. Finally, right at the edge of the field or edge of the timber there, I found a buck that was laying, and I started looking at him, and I found a big blood spot running down his back. And here he had shot him right in the, I don't know, no man's land, I guess what you would call it, right below the spine.
You're gonna get
And there
for
was
that,
just-
Jay. Some people say there is no such thing as a no man's.
I have found 2 of them now. The exact same thing. Where the one was killed after the fact, and it was like literally not even a quarter inch above the spine. Where, I mean, it was blood running down the side of him,
Yeah,
and it looked bad.
Yeah.
But anyhow, that deer, I found him. I was looking at him. He actually ended up getting up and walking, and you could just see the blood just pouring off the side of him. But I don't think they ever found him.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he died.
So they didn't call you back to do like a follow up on
No.
that thing.
No.
So you would have been flying my M30T
Yep.
when I was somewhere else, huh?
I believe that was, yeah. I think that was the case because that was one of my very first ones. And actually, that day I did 3 of them. So I went and found that one, and I got pretty pumped up about that. I found that one. Then I went down south. Oh yeah, it was the same day. So I went down south, and this was in the very beginning. Didn't know the what is that setting?
Oh,
I forget what
was
it is.
the mode setting?
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
different, or are you talking about the
The one they just added to the M4T.
oh inspection mode?
Inspection mode. We didn't know about inspection mode. So I go down south, and I think it was at a place that you had maybe previously looked at. You had been there at some point.
This is starting to. This was season
But
2 then.
maybe that was-
because I did everything my first season. Remember, I had to freaking talk you into like let's
yeah.
do thermal drones.
Yeah. Okay, so that would have been the second season.
Yeah, so 2022 was my first season, and I hammered it hard and made a lot of money. And I was like, Jay, like I think we could do this. And you were still doing the anywhere tree care thing, and you weren't convinced. And then, yeah, we're just gonna get into that story, and then we'll pick up where you left off. But I had to talk you into like. Forget about the trees. Like, come fly thermal drones.
If you're not...
I remember you were sitting out on my driveway here. Remember? That
Yeah.
was the first
Oh,
time
yeah.
you ever flew
Yeah.
a thermal drone.
Yep.
You never flew a drone. And then you're like flying it. I showed you just some basics, like fly it with the sticks
Yep.
and this is how you turn it. And then you sat out there for a long time starting to fly.
Yeah. It was hard to try to get to fly sideways
Yup.
and look at one position or like one object to fly sideways to go around it and like keep your drone.
I
looking at
remember
that.
you were asking me, like, Mike, how do you like spin it and still...
Yep. Because
You-
like up here at the top of the hill, there's a bank.
Yep.
And if you just fly over top of the bank, you can't see the side of it.
Yep.
So if you got to look from the side and just kind of, it was kind of hard to get that all figured out.
It's interesting to bring that up because, like, now that you and I have flown thousands of hours, you just
It's common sense, or just comes naturally.
But when you
it
think
didn't.
back, when you think back to
Yeah.
that, it's like we had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that whole story of like getting you to be convinced that this drone business is going to be a thing because. If you guys don't know, me and Jay and Kevin are partners in this business, but it took me a while. I had to talk Kevin into being a business partner. I told him this is going to be big. Kevin's kind of the techie side of it, like knows automation, the website thing, does a lot, right? It couldn't all just been done by myself. It had to be me, Kevin, and Jay, because Jay, you're like a hands-on, like hammer it, get it figured out. You're doing the trees at that time, and you were still doing that, and I was trying to convince you
Yep.
to now quit the trees and do the drones, and you weren't convinced.
No, it took a while. Like that was honestly, I think that was the hardest decision I ever made.
Oh, yeah.
Legit, I think so.
Because you were stepping away from something that was
Yeah,
it
we
paid
made
well.
we made good money. Yeah, worked eight months out of the year, made really good money. Had made enough money in 8 months that you could take 3 months off. It was our business. It was doing very well. Like there was nothing wrong with the company. To try to like just leave that or sell that and jump into something that I didn't really know anything about.
Yeah,
like,
and you did have to take a pay cut. I was like,
Yeah.
you'll have to take a pay cut to start with, but I promise you, it'll get better.
But yeah, I mean, at some point, the more I got into the drones, the more I seen like, oh my gosh, this is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, if you're not into it, it's like, okay, yeah, you don't really know that many people are, or you don't know everything that can be done with drones,
Yep.
and it's just hard to see it. But once you start getting into it, it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah,
the
it just
possibilities are infinite.
It literally leads to the next
Yep.
thing. It's like, we started with thermal drones, and that was really our niche market, but then we stepped into the ag. That's a whole nother deal. We're talking about untold stories of drone data recovery, but agricultural stuff, like you guys were both on the phones here because you're doing customer service side of troubleshooting and stuff. You had a warranty thing with agricultural drones, and you were like, man, this thing's going to blow up, and it's already blowing up, like on the agricultural side of things. And then you had a thermal drone guy. I'm looking over to Austin. If you guys are listening and you can't see me pointing, I'm looking over to Austin because he also, your role now, what would you consider your role in the company?
Just shop manager, I guess. Yeah,
And a lot
just
more
went over there. Yeah,
podcast producer.
I don't know. I really enjoy it because it's like I feel like I know enough to dabble in each kind of department
Yeah.
of the company, but I don't fully know like just one thing. Like I'm not my knowledge is like this wide, but only this,
And so
deep.
if I go based,
Yeah.
so
You know,
the
a little-
listeners can
Yeah,
witness how wide this wide is. It's about 36 inches with his hand and about 12
Yeah.
inches deep.
Where a lot of people, maybe only have this
Specific.
wide, but then they're this deep,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been fun to just bounce around, help the company out wherever needed. But
You have a little bit of knowledge about everything.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay. That's company stuff. Back to that recovery. So you found that first one.
Yep, found that one.
I remember the one you're talking about now because I went down there and was looking for a deer for them. Could not find it because of the rocks were just disgusting.
Oh,
Like
it was
if I would have known up to that point, like one of the first questions you're going to ask somebody if it's still early season and the sun was out all day long is, are there rocks in your woods? Because that could make it a little bit more of a challenge.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that first one, I went down south to that other location, and there I took the drone off and started flying into towards the woods, and dude, it was just lit up red everywhere.
I remember.
I'm like,
I think
how
we
am I
used some
gonna
of
find
this
thing?
footage for training
I think we
because
did. Yeah.
it
It was
just
horrible.
showed the dedication that you had. Is like you didn't want to give up, but you had to look through all those rocks. Now, I do think if you do that,
If I would do
over-
it now with inspection mode, I don't think I would. I mean, it would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
I think the rocks would probably still be an issue, but it would be a lot easier.
Yeah.
But I flew there for probably 2.5 hours, and I have flown over top of the deer, and the deer looked exactly like the rocks. Like I found that buck with luck. Like
Yeah.
it was lucky. I looked at that rock, and it was a freaking deer.
Yeah, yeah. I think that DJI, when they introduced that inspection mode, and I wish I would understand what that mode actually does, because whatever algorithm they use to adjust the colors,
Just inspecting deer, man.
It's narrowing your
range.
Your range. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more precise.
Yeah.
Like it's picking up actual heat versus
Well,
like
that's
the deer was probably 110 degrees. The rock was maybe 60 degrees.
Yeah, well, that's the first thing that we noticed when we unboxed the M4T. I updated all the software and I went to click on thermal or inspection mode. I was like, this thing needs inspection mode. Didn't have it, so I quickly reached out to the DJI engineer. I was like, guys, we need inspection mode now. And within 30 days, they updated the software and we have inspection mode on the M4T. Same thing happened with the 4TD. The dock version, the one that I really like, is like, dude, inspection mode, we need to have it. Did you see the new mode on inspection mode? You can actually change the contrast.
I haven't.
Yeah, so in inspection mode, you can actually adjust if you want the gray colors to be brighter or the red colors, right, depending on what palette you're in. Yeah, so now it'll even throw it out in a little bit different. Yeah,
That's cool.
Anyhow, inspection mode totally would have.
Oh my gosh, it would have helped me out. Dude, I flew 2 hours. Finally, the guys were like, they're just going to go in after it and see if they can find blood again. And I just kept flying, and they were walking through the woods. They were probably about 200 yards from the deer when I actually found him. And so I got a hold of them real quick, and they came back. Deer wasn't dead. He was laying there.
Did he die later?
Nope, never found him again. Nope. He got up. There was a huge woods behind them, and I don't know where he went. I dropped a pin on him, and they went in the next morning, and he wasn't there. But then from there, I went right down the road. 5 minutes down the road, there was another guy. This was about 2 a.m, and I mean, this one was super easy. Took the drone off, went over, and within 5 minutes, I found him.
Dead.
That deer was also not dead.
Oh,
but he ended up getting that deer. He was after that deer for like 2 years, so he knew his routes. And based off of where he was at, he knew he didn't live on his property, so he would come out over on his property, then he would go back, and he knew the route he was going to take back, and he ended up shooting him the next morning.
Oh yeah,
on his way back to the other property.
Huh? So he wasn't fatally shot.
No.
Okay.
I mean, it's a chance he might have died. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was not in good shape, but he wasn't dead yet.
Huh? Dude, those are some cool
But that
stories.
was freaking awesome. It was like one of my first days. I found 3 of them right in a row. That was cool.
I would. I don't have many deer recovery stories because all of my stuff is on drone deer recovery. Literally, almost every recovery that I've ever done was recorded. Me doing the recovery, but mine would be more of like herd census. Like when we were doing in the beginning, I called it herd analysis, where we go and we count people's deer, and we'll talk about some of those ranches that you and I actually got to fly. Me and Jay, we just got to experience stuff that in my world is unbelievable. The amount of land that some people have that is strictly just for hunting. And,
it's amazing.
The amount of money they spend on chasing white-tailed deer, it's incredible. I would imagine that you probably, Austin, have some drone deer recovery stories that haven't made it on the channel that are pretty interesting.
Yeah, so one of my favorite ones is just as far as showcasing the zoom feature on the 30T was one night I went out, do recovery, and the guy didn't have a great chance to look at his deer, and he was doing
before he shot it?
Yeah, before he shot it. So he wasn't 100% on being able to identify it if we were gonna see it. And so start searching, and he's doing this with like a longbow. So
wow,
pretty different than compound.
Actually, you bring that up. I can only recall one time that I did a recovery for somebody that shot a longbow.
Yeah.
I did one with a longbow. Guy never found him. I found the deer. Arrow was like sticking out of him this much. It was in his gut. Oh, that was a cool one, actually.
Okay, we'll tell you.
We'll go
that.
over there. So
I love these stories. We might need to. Have,
the thing is that once you keep talking, it's just gonna
jog
your memory more and more.
Exactly, because like you start doing so many recoveries, it's like, which one it was what?
Yeah,
but.
Like when we first started sitting, I'm like, I don't know if I have any stories, and all of a sudden it's just like, okay, they're starting to come. So I look, I don't remember. I'm saying maybe 30 minutes. Found a deer alive with an arrow stuck out of it. Could see it pretty plainly, and he's like, "Oh, that's not. I don't know what deer that is. that is not my deer. Like that thing is way too small. Like he's like that. I mean, this thing was just like a little basket thing, and he's just like that." For sure is not the deer. But we're looking around, and there's an arrow in it, and I was like, okay, what color was your fletching? And he's like, green and white. Oh, okay, I'll show you something here.
Oh, so no.
I zoomed way in. I'm like 250 feet there. This is at night, with that light.
Yeah.
Zoomed in and hit the zoom, and it green and white fletching.
Can't deny that one.
And he's
what
like,
do you say?
Oh, well, I guess that's the deer.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So,
but the deer wasn't dead.
It wasn't dead, and I don't
die?
think it ever died. No.
Oh my gosh, it would be great if you'd have screen recording of that.
Yeah, I know.
That would be crazy.
But
just
anyway,
the audio exchange.
Yeah.
Definitely not my deer. And then you bring the drone closer and you hit the zoom and you're just like, oh, well, never mind. I guess.
Drone don't lie.
No.
Yeah.
I have a story like that, but it is on the channel. I should try to link it in this podcast if you guys want to watch it, because it was a frustrating night. doing deer recoveries with. Actually, Kevin was still with me. It was the first season. It was a very similar story to what you just said. It was an Amish guy that shot a deer and it ran in quickly, got a shot off and thought it's like a 140-inch deer or a 150-inch deer, low light, get out there. This is all recorded. It's literally on the channel. And started looking for deer, finally found a deer, the deer. He would not claim it as his deer, but found a buck, big blood spot on his back, running down, but it's like a 115-inch deer, and he would not claim it as his deer. But I couldn't point it to him because I couldn't see like the arrow. The arrow had fell out. Yeah. But literally the other neighbors were around there when I was doing that recovery, and they're like, he got on the phone with the other neighbors around. Hey, did you shoot a deer? No. Did you shoot a deer? No. Nobody shot a deer except that guy, and that's the only deer that we found that was wounded. Unless he came from a long way away, it was his deer, but he was not claiming it. And for me, that I didn't like that because the way we charge for deer recoveries is now the cost is it's $400 if we find your deer, and it's $200 if we don't find the deer. Well, I couldn't charge the
you can't prove it.
Yeah,
that's frustrating.
It was very frustrating
when you've looked everywhere else and there's no deer there. That is shot.
Well, that is laying flat dead because that's the biggest thing. They wanted to see a deer that is flat dead. Then maybe that's their deer. But that's anyhow. That was one of mine. Is like, and we made the whole video. Is that like this is frustrating now. They got to the point where this is going to. We need a trail cam photo of the deer you shot because I might find your deer and you're not going to accept it. Yeah. Tell us about that longbow.
Oh, anyhow, so I found the deer. I go out there in the morning. I find the deer, and it's standing on top of a ridge, just standing there like in pain. Big arrow sticking out of it. So the deer's still alive. I leave. I had to go. Actually, I was still doing trees, so I left. Went to work. Went to my other work. Came back that night. Could not find the deer. Like I looked everywhere. Could not find.
I think
the deer.
I remember this one.
I go back the next night because I couldn't go back the following morning. I had something going on. I go back the next night. So this is like day 2 after he had shot him. And I look everywhere. I mean, I'm searched hundreds of acres at this point. I went across the road. Finally, I find the deer. And across the road, there was public land. So I find the deer laying flat dead. Yeah. I'm like, this is it. Looked exactly like the deer the guy had shot. I mean, I couldn't see exactly, but it looked very similar to that deer. And we actually went in, looked at the deer. We got to the deer, and the kid picks it up, and he's like, oh, shoot, this is not my deer. I'm like, oh, crap. Like, now I found somebody else's dead deer, and we don't know who it is because it's public land. So anyhow, we just left the deer there. We left, and I literally got back to my truck. Not 5 minutes later, you call me, and we're like, hey, where you at? There's a guy. He doesn't really want to pay for it. He can't really afford the charge, but there's a guy over close to your area where you're at.
I remember.
Would you mind just looking for him? I'm like, dude, I literally already have a pin of that dude's deer. And so we sent him the pin, and it was that guy's deer.
That is fantastic.
It was freaking awesome.
That's sweet.
So you still did find a dead deer, but not
the one I was looking for.
I wonder if that the one that had the arrow sticking out of it, if it ended up ever dying.
I don't know. I mean, it was really, really low gut shot.
Oh.
I'm not sure. It didn't look, and again, I don't know. It was a long bow, so it was a really long arrow, and it was sticking out like really, really far.
So if it was a really low gut hit, I'm going to bring up the guts out buck. Like on the channel, again, there's a buck I look for. It was hit really, really low. His intestines were actually out, but he'd never actually cut the intestines. But because they fell out, then that's what killed them. But it took a long time, and that deer went a long way from where he was last seen.
It's hard to say because in that area there's a lot of ponds, like a lot of strip ponds.
Yeah,
and
if he got in there,
could have went in a pond that I wasn't able to see him. I don't know. Yeah, but I searched. I mean, there was hundreds of acres that I looked over, and I never found him.
Yeah, those are hard. Like I had one where I found the deer; it was still alive, but it just looked like it was going to die. Like I was so confident coming back the next morning and we were going to find that deer dead. And it was like a once in a lifetime for this kid, you know, I would say probably like 180s, 190s, something buck, you know, and just couldn't find him the next day. Just like completely ghosted. Just, I looked and
It's
I
so
looked and I looked,
frustrating.
and it was so frustrating because the night before, I mean, I hadn't flown for more than 20 minutes, when I found him, and then the next morning he's just like literally nowhere around.
What I usually tell people is think about this. This gives you a perspective of how far the deer could be. If the deer walks only 1 mile per hour, just 1 mile per hour, that's like just one step, another
very
step.
slow.
He could literally be in 1 hour a mile away. So if it's 3 hours, he could be 3 miles away. You start thinking about that, like that's not that hard for deer to do.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
there's literally a time that I've seen a deer, here, and literally not even 10 minutes later, that sucker is way on the other side of the property.
Yep.
So
And they move so far. Like at my place, I have trail camera pictures of a deer, and then our hunting land is about 1.5 miles across the country, and we get same trail camera pictures of that deer 1.5 miles away.
Yep.
So
and that that it's happening everywhere in the country.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd mentioned Derek from Whitetail Research on other videos in the past. He's showing this stuff now, right? He's passionate about doing research on deer, and he is physically showing how far some of these deer are moving. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and the only caveat to that, deer moving a lot is cattle. Cattle don't move a lot. I find that out doing the pet calls. I had this one guy that it was freezing cold, like 9 degrees out. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to set up my screen in the back of, I have captain seats in my SUV. So I was just going to set up the screen, have him sit back there. He could watch it. And,
Wait, are you doing a pet call right now? Are you looking, what are you looking for?
I'm looking for his lost cow. He's been spending 2 days. His cattle got out. I think it was like a 4-H cow or something. Got out, been looking for it for 2 days, had found tracks and stuff in the woods and could not find it. So called me out. And so I spend 10 minutes to try to make this an experience as well. Getting everything set up. Take the drone up, turn. Oh, there he is.
You spent more time
getting set up than it actually took to find him, but actually getting him then was a whole other story.
Oh yeah,
just kind of about capturing him. But
I remember another crazy one that you did, and it might be on the channel, but you were going out and your light wasn't working, and you found the buck using thermal.
Oh
yeah,
that is on the channel.
Yeah,
is it
the one that then it was still alive?
You guys walked up on it; it was still alive.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was pretty crazy.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to tell that story, right?
Yeah. It's a hard one. Just because with the conditions and flying and thinking, I was just so convinced with the thermal, my light was having issues, and so I was just convinced that was a dead deer.
Yeah.
And then
you were just using the thermal.
Yeah, just using the thermal.
I think that's the time we were having all the issues with the LP12.
I think so.
Yeah. Everything was bricking. Actually, I think, wasn't it foggy that night? That's why the light wouldn't work?
It was a little bit. It was, but that wouldn't have. Yeah.
I think your light wasn't working.
Yeah, the light wasn't. I don't remember all the details.
Okay.
But
you walked up on the deer and he was still alive.
Yeah, I mean, you can't even fly legally in the fog anyway. So, but
that being said, great transition. Part 108. We need to leave comments. Yeah. Every single one of us needs to leave comments. Anybody that's listening to this, if you fly a drone, I don't care, is it a thermal drone, is it an agricultural drone, is it just a photo drone, you need to leave comments on the new proposal that the FAA left for Part 108. They are saying that we can't manipulate the drone if it's beyond line of sight. Leave a comment, and actually, you know what? I'll link it in the YouTube video of this podcast of a PDF that will help you leave a comment, and then just put it in your favorite AI software and just adjust it slightly for your scenario. But dude, if we don't leave comments and the FAA doesn't change just a few things about being able to fly beyond line of sight, we're going to be screwed for the 10 years.
Yeah.
Like
Yep. They're not going to change it again soon.
They won't change it for a while. So, but I think they're going to be willing to listen to us because they don't know, right? The FAA doesn't do deer recovery. They don't do pet recovery or search and rescue and know how vital it is to fly an M30T beyond line of sight right across the trees. I'm not talking that you're going to be, 500 feet. You're in a scenario where you're flying it over the trees and you can't see it. So you need to leave comments on that Part 108. Super important.
Yeah. The drone is very capable of flying beyond line of sight. There's no reason we shouldn't be able to.
100%. Yeah. You're going to be able to, put a 4G dongle on it, and you'll fly way beyond line of sight, and it just makes them that much more valuable. And it helps with search and rescue, helps with doing deer recovery. It helps so much to be able to fly beyond line of sight. And the thing is, this is not new to the FAA. Like, they get hundreds and thousands of exemptions. So people petition the FAA to let them fly beyond line of sight with these smaller drones, and they've granted thousands, literally thousands of beyond line of sight man-manipulated flights. There's no reason we can't do it as a part. Did you see the document?
Yeah.
So I think it's a great idea. Like Pilot Institute said, like, just make it an extra add-on. It's like a rating.
Like an endorsement.
An endorsement and rating to your Part 107.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
If you want to fly beyond line of sight on your Part 107, it's an additional endorsement that you get, or a rating. Just like if I'm flying an airplane and I want to go fly multi-engine, like with 2 engines on it, I have to get a rating to fly 2 engines. If I want to be able to fly 2 engines in IFR conditions, I have to get an additional rating to fly multi-engines in IFR. It's the same thing. I don't understand why the FAA didn't take this route. So anyhow, I'm telling you guys, we need to comment before October 6th, or we could be, dealing with this.
I really think they just didn't add that because they don't know.
Well, I
partially.
think the biggest companies that are pushing this, and I'm serious, is huge. Amazon, Walmart, those type of things, where that's who the FAA has heard from, is not us, because we're busy, right? We're busy having drone businesses. We don't have time to reach out to the FAA.
We don't have a guide strictly, this is your job. Do this. And it's,
So that's why it's the Part 108 is proposed for large commercial delivery services. But I'm telling you, we can make a difference, and we will be able to fly beyond line of sight with man in the loop or pilot in the loop if they hear from us. They're not going to put it in there if they don't hear from us. And so if you made it to the podcast this far, do make sure that you leave a comment.
Take 20 minutes out of your day and do it.
Yep. Totally. I used to think that government, talking to government doesn't make that big of a difference, but we have to. We have to talk to them. Yeah. Dude, getting into stuff that we weren't able to show on Drone Deer Recovery, the channel was all the herd census that we got to do it would have been in 2023, but it was like January and February.
Yep.
After we went through the season, I created this video. Just a brief little video. It's something that I was going to do as Drone Deer Recovery as well, is doing a herd census, right? Like, I'll come to you, I'll fly your land, and we'll count the deer. We'll tell you how many bucks and how many does. I don't know exactly what you do with the data at that point. That's what I was thinking. I didn't know. Now we have the herd census course that we built, that Awesome put together. But I made a video. It was just a short video. You were in it, right? We went to the hunting land, we counted the deer, and then we put it out there. I think it did close to 100,000 views, and the phone and the DMs absolutely went mad because I just showed a NuWay. Look at that, NuWay. Jay's got a NuWay Ag shirt on. Wow. I showed a new way of getting data that is more accurate, in my opinion, than any trail cam study that you can do.
100%.
And it proved, right? We started doing some of these farms, and we had managers on those farms that did trail cam studies for them. And they were like, guys, there's no question that your data that you just provided to us is a lot more accurate than any trail cam study that they have ever done. TM started going wild. We start getting requests to do farms, ranches all over the country, literally.
Yeah.
anywhere from Colorado to the East Coast, we were getting calls. And so most of these farms were ranches that didn't want me to film on their ranch because of, I don't know, probably just privacy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, I could have filmed it in a way that people wouldn't have known where we're at, but that's something that they didn't want. And also didn't feel that it was right for me to be like saying where I'm going, how big the ranch is, and physically showing it. I can talk about it. I'm not going to give names of the people, but my first big one that I remember that we got is, and it was a lead from Working Class Bowhunter podcast. I was on the Working Class Bowhunter podcast, and the manager of, was it 1,200 acres in Wisconsin?
That was 3,000 acres.
Was that 3,000? Yeah, because we split
it. Was 1,200 acres in Tennessee.
Well, there's also in Oklahoma, there was 12
that
or
was
15.
1,700.
1,700. Good thing we got Jay here. So the first big lead that I got because he heard us talking about her census was from when I was on the Working Class Bowhunter podcast. He works for a 3,000 acre ranch in Wisconsin. He was a retired NFL player, and he wanted to know if we could come count his deer. And that day, we took the airplane from Ohio, but what was that airport? Upper Sandusky, I think?
Yeah.
We got up early in the morning. We flew. I have to give you a little context of how this stuff works. Doing her census is very difficult to schedule. And you guys can jump in here at any time to, say why or whatever, but it's hard to schedule because, right, so Wisconsin, he wanted me to do that her census. Well, I look at the weather 3 days out, and we're trying to cloud forecast. So we use an app called Windy, and we forecast if it's going to be overcast, and we want it to be overcast, and we need to do it in the daytime. Geez, remember that one we did at night?
Oh, it was brutal. It's way easier to do it in the daytime because the deer are usually bedded, or they're not moving around too far. But in the daytime, often it's sunny, so it's really hard to use thermal.
Yep.
So we need clouds in order to do it properly.
And we like to do them between like 10 and 2 so the deer are bedded,
Yep.
like, Jay is saying. So we're trying to forecast this stuff and schedule it. And finally we figured out we cannot go this far and schedule these things because just drive time, right? Drive time to get up there would have been like 13 hours.
Yep.
I'm a pilot, and so I rented an airplane to fly us to these locations. I was flying the airplane. I had a CFI with me because I was getting my instrument rating, which was perfect, right? It all worked out. I was getting instrument training, flying to areas that were cloudy. That's what you want when you're doing instrument training, cloudy. And once we get there, we're able to do these herd analysis. We flew to Wisconsin, did 3,000 acres for him, got to go into his man cave. Man cave, that's just...
The man cave, that's a mansion.
Not much of a cave.
No, it was not much of a cave. It was a shop that was just massive, like massive. And just the whole thing was filled with trophies that he's shot over the years. And
it was just, it's an unbelievable feeling because this is somebody that just lets you come on to their 3,000 acre ranch and lets you go into this big, beautiful building that just is just a hunter's, what you dream of because of YouTube.
that's crazy.
I think of that every time that we get to experience the things that we experience because of YouTube. I'm telling you, it has changed our lives. It's
100%.
changed all of our lives here. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and those people watched the content, believed who I was because of that, and said, yes, come to my ranch. You're more than welcome. Stay. And the people even let us stay in their lodges at times.
Yep.
So we fly to Wisconsin. We do that herd analysis. Same day, we fly to Illinois. We do a herd analysis down there, or herd census, whatever you want to call it. Then at night, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, you'll get to see just some of these vertical clips because a lot of things are happening. I'm flying the airplane, I'm videoing what we're doing, and so you guys can see us flying. When we got to, actually, I'm going to tell you the story of flying into Wisconsin. So the thing that you have to remember is it's cloudy and it's cold. Those are two things that create icing. When you are flying an airplane, you are at altitude and it's cold and you come down through a cloud, even though the cloud looks puffy, that moisture hits the the leading edge of the airplane, and that leading edge is cold. Well, that droplet hits that and freezes on the edge of your airplane leading edge. So propeller, windshield, and the wings get covered with ice. We're coming down through there. We're shooting approach. We got cleared to shoot the approach.
And the airplane is not icing rated.
Well, we don't. Well, it's forecasted. We don't tell them that it's not icing rated. It is, as long as you don't have to get out of it. But yeah, technically not. What would that be called? Known into flying into known icing. It definitely doesn't have de-icing boots. Does not have heated propeller to shed the ice. So if you have an airplane that has that, you can break it off. It'll build up. You break it off, and it'll be fine. Well, this one wasn't. It was a Bonanza A36. Jeez, I feel like I'm rambling because I just keep going on this airplane. Anyhow, we're coming down through here, and I'm looking at my leading edge, and I'm like, holy smokes, there's like icicles starting to build up on this thing. Were you worried at that point?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit. There was definitely one time where I was like, oh boy. I mean, it was like a couple inches of ice on the edge.
Anyhow, we got it down, had ice build up, and there was still ice on the leading edge of the airplane once we landed. But that was just some of the stuff we were dealing with because we had to get to these places when it was overcast and it's cold. We were dealing with it.
So literally that morning, we were sitting on the runway for probably 30 minutes debating if we want to take off or not.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I think that was in Canton. That was in Canton that morning. I told him to fly into Canton.
Oh, yeah. He picked us up in Canton.
Yep. That was a different morning.
Was that a different day?
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's when we went to Georgia.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So it was cold up here, and we were dealing with freezing rain. That's worse than just clouds because that is it's clear on your leading edge and you can't see them. Anyhow, we go to Illinois, get that thing done. Then we fly through the night to Oklahoma, get to do a 1,700 acre ranch. I'll have a clip of me on the back porch of this lodge, huge lodge, just chilling on the back porch, counting people's deer.
That was a pretty sweet place.
It's like, is this real life? Like,
yeah, that place had hogs.
Yep.
Yeah, hogs, cattle, I think there was, and a bunch of deer.
Yeah. But some of those places I would have loved to be able to show you guys on the Drone Deer Recovery channel, but it's just one of those things. It's too private. Not going to do that. But I did really appreciate those people reaching out to us at Drone Deer Recovery and trust us to do their herd census. I remember that one in Oklahoma. In order for them to be in this program of a deer management something, if you guys know anything about it, speak up. Remember they had to do a trail camera study.
Yeah, they had, I forget what it was.
To get a certain number of tags or something?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, because I think you're talking about the one in Georgia or Oklahoma.
Does Georgia maybe have the same thing?
Georgia has the same thing.
There's this program that you get a certain amount of tags or something, but you have to do a survey or a trail camera, study for these tags. And this was the first time that thermal drones were used. And so then they had to talk to the Oklahoma Wildlife Agency to see if this study would be valid for them to get these tags. Yep. And they had to get it approved, and it was. And I think to this day, they're probably still doing it. They're just using other local thermal drone pilots out there to do that.
It is by far. I mean, it is the most accurate way you will ever count your deer. Right now.
Yeah, like I did one last year on 600 acres, and it was penned in high fence, and knew there was this one buck that the one guy wanted to see. He knew he was in there, had pictures of him and stuff like that, and we went through the whole thing, couldn't find him, and I was just, oh man, just like I know the technology's we're able to.
You never
see
did
this
find
stuff.
him?
It didn't find him. And then like 2 weeks later, he sent me a picture and he's like, this is why I didn't find him. He was dead. He had found him dead on the property.
No.
So it's just like, yeah, it was just kind of a testament to how accurate this stuff is, because like you didn't find him because he wasn't alive.
Yeah, that brings up a high fence that we did in Virginia or West Virginia. And you guys did that one this year, I think. You and I did it first. You had elk in there and sheep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You did.
I think we did that one.
You and Dennis, I think, did it. That is a client that feels like he has more than what the drones are counting. But we did it twice
We
in
did
the
it
same
2
day.
times. Yeah.
And we got one more or one less deer than we did the first time.
Yep.
And when you guys did it, he also thought that he had a little bit more than what you were giving him. I believe the data. I believe the drones are more accurate than what they were thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, it is way more accurate than you sitting out in a blind and seeing a deer from 300 yards away, and you might think it's a different deer than what it actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And you
think
as a
they had-
pilot, you can give that level of confidence just based on, if it is heavy pines, then you know that you're going to maybe miss 1 or 2 or 3, whatever, or however that those conditions are, but then you can convey that. But there are times that it's so clear. Like the data is so clear based on you knowing how well you covered the area. And
Yep.
it's just it's just insane.
I agree. But doing the herd census and flying ourselves all across the country, if I would try to remember the states, it was for sure Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Oklahoma, Georgia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, Pennsylvania, West Virginia.
Yep.
They were Tennessee.
Yeah, we went out
Alabama.
to California, Catalina Island.
We've done, we have not told that story about the Catalina thing, but we got to do something on Catalina Island that at some point we can talk about more. But Tennessee, remember the one time we flew either Alabama or Arkansas, and we got there and it had already started greening up.
Louisiana.
Was it?
I think it was
And
Louisiana.
it already started greening up. And
Yep.
so up north here in Ohio, our trees still didn't have leaves, and we get down there and it's like, oh my gosh,
Springtime.
Yep.
Literally.
Yep. And I just called the customer. I was like, I feel so bad. Like, we're not going to be able to give you good data. You don't have to pay me. Like, no payment required. I just feel bad. We scheduled this. We want it to come count your deer for you, but we won't be able to give you good data. And we told him we can't do it and went home.
Well left. Yep.
But he was appreciative that we came down. I do think that he probably got a local guy the next year because, we showed all this stuff on drone deer recovery and hundreds and hundreds of people started buying thermal drones to have their own thermal drone business. I don't blame him. It's good money. And so, as far as doing the herd census in different parts of the country, doesn't really happen that much for us now because they have closer options. Unless it's really, really big land, then we would probably get involved. But some of those herd census, just being able to go to land that is specifically bought to do deer hunting on and experiencing it was just crazy. Never thought that it's something that we could do.
No, I remember that one farm, and I think it was in Kentucky. We did one in Tennessee, and then we drove up to Kentucky.
The Kentucky was out of control.
The most deer that I've ever seen in my life. Like, you would count a group of 25 deer, and you would move 100 yards, and there'd be another group of 25, 30 deer. Like, it was absolutely out of control.
I remember how down that landowner was. Like, he didn't realize how many doe were on his land. Like, he wanted big buck, right? Like, that's what he wanted. And he was seeing the sheer amount of does that they would need to kill off to try to help his buck population.
Yeah, I think didn't he say he was wanting to shoot after we'd looked at it? I think he was wanting to shoot like 100 does or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
I thought it
might have even been 200.
It was to the point where they were talking about doing deer drives and just basically slaughtering them because there were that many deer.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
It was insane. That was difficult to do because you'd have groups here of 20, 30 deer. You'd move up a little bit, another 20, 30 deer. By the time you came back, those 20, 30 deer were starting to move a little bit. It was hard
I think that was the same day we did that. They have a YouTube channel. They call it Buck Factory, I think, or something.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't it? That was the same day?
Maybe.
I have a feeling, yeah. But
might have been, yeah.
I think they made a whole video on drone deer recovery coming down there doing a herd census.
Yep.
I didn't do a video, but yeah, those are just some of the stories that we got to experience and do, and I thought it'd be cool to share. If you guys want to hear more untold stories, I'm sure that there's a lot more we could talk about. And, we got Matt, we got Logan, we got Wendell, we got Dennis. There's so many local pilots here that I work with that have stories that we could do this a lot more. If you guys
could probably sit here and talk about it all day long.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just a little update. Dennis just sent me a picture of the 2 missing elk hunters found dead after days of searching.
Oh, no.
So
this is happening right now. Well, let's read it. I mean, we talked about it in the podcast, so now we know that. Wow, that is crazy. It's just like the Charlie Kirk thing. Like before hopping on this podcast, I created a video for Drone Deer Recovery where we did EHD survey stuff, and I shot that whole video. But when I heard of Charlie Kirk getting shot, I was upset, and my mood just changed, and I was like super close to just turning around and not shooting that whole EHD video. And then the first edit came out, and it was like clear. I'm not going to release that edit how it was because of my mood. And then I just reshot that whole video here in the studio. And this is kind of the same thing. It's like, man, we were just talking about these guys being missing in the beginning of this podcast, and literally what we've been talking for an hour or so. And now we find out that they
searched for 6 days before their bodies were found. So the deputies were concerned due to heavy rain and bad weather. This resulted in a massive search with helicopters, multi-county, state, ground teams, dog teams, drone teams, ATVs, and local volunteers, the sheriff's office said. Yeah, people came from all across Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Wyoming. But yeah, on September 11th, the men were seen on a trail camera near their vehicle in the trailhead area. Other hunters also reported seeing them just a day before the search began. The search lasted 6 days before their bodies were discovered.
I wonder... So we won't know. Obviously, we won't be able to share it on this podcast, but like, why? That's going to be hard to piece. Like,
they were found 2 miles from the trailhead, so it's not that far in.
Huh. Jeez.
Gee, that is horrible.
Not good. But, well, not a good way to end the podcast, but
That's, tragic.
It is.
Glad they found him, though.
Yep. We literally started it with that. And now we're going to end it with that.
That's crazy. He just texted me 15 minutes ago.
Dennis, because
we had talked about it.
Literally going there and doing it.
I talked with him yesterday.
So I wonder what ended up finding him. Dogs, or was it thermal?
Yeah, it didn't say.
Yeah. No, it's just sad. Sad.
That is sad.
Too bad that they were dead. Like, what if they would have been alive 2 weeks later? That would have been an insane story.
Well, it said actually it was only 6 days after the search they found him. So it wasn't 2 weeks.
Okay. Alrighty, there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you're listening to this on YouTube, if you're listening on Spotify or the other podcast places where you listen to stuff, I don't know how that works. If you subscribe or like or whatever, but do that thing. That's all we got. We'll catch you guys on the next one.